developing a big fan base, Alita: Battle Angel, after 2 years, is finally prepared for a sequel. However, there are still talks about whether it would happen, and today, we're going to take a look into one of manga's most beloved heroines, which was brought to live action, tell you everything we know so far about the sequel, and take a first look into where things stand as of right now. Enjoy!
What are you dreaming, little angel?
As we said before, Alita: Battle Angel is the movie that brought manga's favorite heroine to the big screen. However, some requirements must be met before she makes a return for her second movie. Hitting cinemas in February 2019, Alita was the passion project of the famous director James Cameron, who produced and co-wrote the screenplay, and Robert Rodriguez directing the whole thing. The movie, based on the manga created by Yukito Kishiro, Cameron explained for her story to continue, following the manga, of course, adapting the story of it to the big screen in another 2 movies named Alita: Fallen Angel and Alita: Avenging Angai. This is if the franchise makes money first, as Cameron has stated. After 2 years since the release of the movie and its theatrical debut, we can safely call Alita a cult movie. Rodriguez expressed his interest in continuing the story, and Rosa Salazar, the actress of Alita, has shown enthusiasm for reprising her role, which makes it clear that the parties are ready for yet another movie. However, the big question is whether the companies 20th Century Fox and Disney feel the same. Thus, looking at the situation as it is, the sequel depends on various factors, not impossible ones, but necessary ones, if the fan base, the now known one, are there to get their wish granted. Making an impact in the first movie. Since the theatrical release of Alita: Battle Angel, it seems like the franchise's future has been something of a coin toss. And with the budget of $150 million for the first movie, it definitely didn't come cheap. Many doubted the franchise, but Alita ended up defying all expectations and managed to grab $405 million worldwide. A robust haul for most movies. When all things are considered, the movie proved to be a big box office performance and nothing to sneeze at. In Alita's favor are also the Disney seats of James Cameron with his Avatar, and Rodriguez's The Mandalorian, and the upcoming Book of Boba Fett. This, put together with the amassed passionate fan base Alita managed to get, are all factors which are heavily pushing the particular continuation of the story. The Alita Army also succeeded in getting a theatrical re-release greenlit in the fall of 2020, which was also supported by both Cameron and Rodriguez. A good sign which you would always want to see, right? When all things are considered, it is safe to say that Alita's first movie and Alita herself are growing in popularity. But we should also remember that these things sometimes are not enough to guarantee a sequel, so we will have to wait and see. What is holding Alita 2 back? To start off, a big factor in the renewal of the franchise for a sequel lies in the balancing of the first film's budget against its box office numbers, which is a very fragile thing to say the least. And as stated above, the first movie came with a considerable budget tag, and it performed well enough for the franchise to be at least taken into consideration for another movie. However, the other big thing holding back the franchise is the Disney brand, with 20th Century Fox under their wing. Disney would be the one making the call on all of it, and whether the life of the franchise lives on or not. Another aspect to be taken into consideration is how much the brand awareness of Alita has grown since the first film. Yes, Alita exceeded all box office expectations, but can the sequel pull off the same thing a second time? Especially considering the budget required for all of these special effects in this kind of movie. A lot has been done from the side of Alita Army, and they did a phenomenal job. However, Disney has to be assured and convinced that Alita 2 is a reliable investment. Alita 2 cast. As for the cast, if there ever was a sequel to the franchise, according to what Rosa Salazar had to say about it, she will definitely be back to reprise her role as Alita. Not because she is the lead role, but because she has shown love towards the whole franchise. We should also expect Christoph Waltz to be back as Dr. Dyson Ido, Alita's surrogate father, especially after he has been confirmed to be up for a sequel. Edward Norton should also be back to portray the role of the mysterious Nova, especially after he was being set up right at the end of the first movie. Rodriguez also shared his thoughts on Nova and said that he was hard to cast because his presence was all really a setup for a sequel, and wanting to make sure the small, non-speaking role was filled with someone they would want to work with in the future. Their minds went to Norton, who is a great actor and a person ready to take on any challenge ahead of him. Alita 2 plot. The plot of the sequel would be clearly intended to be a complete story, or one that would answer all your questions during its runtime. Alita loses her lover Hugo, after which she comes to understand herself, her purpose, and her own place in her crazy world, slowly climbing up the ranks and at one point become a motorball champion, with which she would get a shot at returning to the mysterious city of Zalem and its leader, Nova. As Rodriguez and Cameron said in an interview, for the sequel, Alita will now know who she is, and she has got a target, continuing the story of the franchise, making it one full story with a beginning, middle, and end. One of the obvious questions the sequel would have to answer is what just happened between the time of the fall and her landing in that Iron City junkyard. How did Zalem survive the fall? And what is the city like? And most importantly, what are Nova's plans? And what exactly does he want? Trailer. It will be a while until we will have a chance to see anything official from the sequel of the franchise. That is, if the sequel gets a green light from Disney in the first place. So far, we should only focus on one thing, bringing back Alita and seeing where her adventures take her, for the better or the worse. And if the sequel gets announced to be happening, it will still be a while, yet as the production might take some time to even start, especially now with the conditions being how they are. According to some assumptions, an official script could take around 12 to 18 months to be written. Then, if the script is all okay, a 10-month of pre-production would be required. Then, around 6 months period of shooting. And last but not least, around a year of post-production. So all in all, if we are ever to get a sequel to the franchise, according to some resources, as an aftermath, the earliest we might get the release of the sequel would be sometime in 2024. However, don't take our word for it, as there are so many variables to be taken into consideration.
Surrender your weapon.
On a related note, tell us down in the comments below which has been your favorite part of the first movie. And if there ever is a sequel, what would you want to see in it the most and why? And also, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon if you would like to see more videos like this in the future. Thank you for watching, and we will see you next time.